Our next topic is literals. Literals are the direct values written in the program or the direct data that is written in the program. We have already learned that we use variables for storing data. For example, price is a variable and I will store the price, that is value 250. So this is my data, right? This is data. And this data is directly written in the program. When the value is directly used, then it is called as literal. So is there any other method for getting the data in the program? Yes, there are multiple methods, but right now I will show you two methods how a variable can have the value. Let us understand that, then we can understand exact meaning of literal. A variable price, I want to store the value. I want to have some data stored in it. So I can take the data as input from the user. So there is a function in Python for taking input from the user, input enter price. Now user can enter some value from the keyboard and that value will be stored in the price. So if suppose the user is entering value 250, then the value 250 will be stored in this price variable, right? Now usually the input type of values are string type, so whatever it may be, don't go on the type. So the value 250 will be stored in the price. So this is nothing but data. In the other way, I can directly write down some value inside a variable inside the program itself, like 250. Now this value that is given is a fixed value written in a program. So the price will be 250, right? This is a fixed value. So whenever you run the program, the value will be same. So this type of value is called as constant value, right? This type of value is also called as constant value, and it is also called as literal. So let us understand once again. See, variables are used for storing the value. We can take the data in those variables by taking input function from the keyboard. So let us understand this thing once again. See, we use variables for storing the data. So we can get the data from the keyboard from the user by taking input function, or also we can directly store the values in the variable inside the program. When we directly write down any value in the variable, that value is called as literal. Alright. When we want to store the data in a variable, we can take the data of any type, like we can take the data of integer type or float type, or we can take the data of complex type, we can take the data of string type, or we can take the data of bool type. So Python allows all these type of literals, integer literal, float literal, all these type of literals. So far in our previous videos, we were directly assigning the values to the variable. So those values are nothing but they are called as literals. Simple. Alright. Now let us understand how we can give integer literal and float literal. Let's talk about integer literal. Alright. If I am taking a variable, I am taking variable A, alright. I want to store the value, so I can mention the value like this. So this is the simplest literal, we have already seen it. Now suppose in a variable B, I want to store a number 12,520. This is 12,520. So this is little lengthy number and sometimes it is difficult to read this. When we write such values on paper, we prefer giving comma. Separate the 3 digits by comma from right hand side. So after every 3 digit we give comma. So we want to give same comma so that it is easy for us to read. So comma is not allowed in Python, but 12_5200 is allowed. So this is 12,520. If the figure is bigger, like 123_456_789. So for after every 3 digit, see whatever the notation that is followed in your country, depending on that, you can give underscore for separating the digits. Like if I take this is units and this is tens and hundreds, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, right? Million, 10 million, 100 million. So it can be read like this. So it is easy for us to read the number if underscores are used. So integer literals can be represented directly, or also you can separate the digits by underscore. Alright. Now coming to the float literals. Float literals. When you want to store any float number, just you have to use decimal. Suppose I want to store 12.59. So when decimal is used, it's a float number. Now in another variable, I want to store 13. So 13 is not a float number. It will not be taken as float number, but the value is just 13. So you must write down .0 to make it as float number. You can also write down float literals in scientific notation like 1.3 to E2. So this is 1.32 into 10 to the power of 2. So it means this is 1.32 into 100. So this becomes 132. This becomes 132. So this 132 can be written in the scientific notation like this also. Can I use underscores in float numbers also? Yes. I'll take some variable 123 underscore 779.45. So you can use underscore for separating the digits in the integral part also, right? So can I use underscore in decimal part also? Yes. If I take a variable 123.4 underscore 5, yes, you can use underscore here also. So how you want to separate the digits, up to you. So you can use underscore anywhere you like. All right. It's not mandatory to just give underscore after 3 digits only. You can give underscore after every digits also. So that all depends on you where you want to give the underscore. Like suppose I have one variable. I want to give underscore 123 underscore dot 45. No, before the decimal underscore is not allowed, and even after the decimal underscore is not allowed. It doesn't make sense. Underscore is used for separating the digits, right? So it should be between digits only. All right. So this is wrong. This is not allowed. So this is about float literals. Now next thing is bool literal. So bool literals are very simple. Just you can use two things. You can use true or you can just use false. So if you're directly writing such values, true or false in your program, these direct values are called as literals, right? Once again, I am repeating it. These direct values are called as literals. So in Boolean, predefined literals are there, that is true and false. You cannot use any other thing for defining bool type of literals. Then coming to complex. So in complex, you have to give a real part and imaginary part. If a variable is a 5 plus 4j, this is a complex number literal. This is a complex number literal, right? And here also, can I use underscore 5 underscore 1 plus 4 underscore 3j? Yes, you can use underscore for separating the digits here also. Now let us talk about string. So for a string literal, suppose a variable I want to store a name, John, then it should be enclosed in single quotes. And variable can be literal can be enclosed in double quotes also. Now one more thing, I'll tell you that there is nothing like character data type in Python. If you have a variable k and you want to store just a letter a, then this a is nothing but a string. No doubt you have given a single letter, but it is a string. String can be enclosed in single quotes also. All right. Single quote is also a string. Double quote is also a string in Python. There are a few more things that I have to explain about literals. I will cover that in the next lecture. Just I will give the demonstration of the things that we have learned so far. All right. And whatever the demo I am giving, you have to practice the same thing. Let us look at the demo. I will show you the new things that we have learned in this lecture. Like integer literal, I can assign it as 123 underscore 345. Yes, underscore is allowed. If I just say a, it will print the value of a. Now you can see it is a single number. Underscore is not there. Just while giving a literal, you can use underscore, but the number will not be stored along with underscore. It will become a single number. All right. Now I will take one variable b and I will use 1 underscore 2. So b value, if I print, it is 12. Just for separating the digits to make it readable, I am using underscore, right? If I give a float literal, so I declare a variable f and 123 underscore 45.66. Like if I see f, now this is a number, it is making it a single number. To the same variable, I will give a float literal like this, 12 underscore 23. See, invalid decimal literal. It is not a valid decimal literal, right? F assign underscore 123 doesn't make sense. So again, it's also not defined. Underscore 123 is not defined, right? It is not saying that invalid decimal literal. If you see the syntax error. This is a syntax error and the message is invalid decimal literal. But this time it doesn't say that it's an invalid literal. It is saying something else. It's saying that not defined. Alright. So difference, you will learn it later on. Just observe that there is a difference. That's it. Why there is a difference, this is not the right time to explain you. Okay. You will learn it later on. Now f assign 123 underscore. Now again it is saying invalid decimal literal. F assign 1 underscore 2 dot 4 underscore 5. Yes, it is taking F is 12.45. Now let us try a complex literal. C assign 4 underscore 5 underscore 4 plus 1 underscore 2 J. Yes, it is working. See, C is 54 plus 12J. Now lastly, I want to store the name of a person. I'll give John, right? So if I say just name, it shows the name, and it is in quotes means it is John. It is a string. When it is in quotes means it's a string. Can I give the same name in double quotes, John? Yes. If I say name, now still it is showing in single quotes. So inside Python, a string is in single quotes, right? But for a programmer, he can mention a literal in single quotes also, double quotes also. Now one last thing I will use here, like price, input, enter, price. So this is the other way of taking data inside the program. Now if you give enter, just you have to see at the bottom right left of a screen, right? Because it cannot scroll up. So on the left hand side you can see here I am working, right? So price, input, enter price. So I will enter the price 125. So now if you see the value of price, it is 125 and it is showing in quotes, right? Showing in quotes means it's a string. It's not an integer. If you want to integer, you will convert it into integer. There's a method of conversion. We will learn that in later videos. Next videos we will see conversions. Alright. So the thing that I wanted to show is you can take the data as input from the user, or you can directly assign the data to a variable. Like if I say price assign 250, so direct value is 250, or to a price I can also take the input from the user. Two methods are there, right? So if you're directly giving the value, then it is called as literal. And we have seen different type of literals. Then in the next lecture we will see more ways of defining literals. All right, so that's all in this lecture.